What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to the All Around. I'm your gracious host, Dr. Anthony. Please tune in on Mondays at 6 p.m. for your entertainment purposes. We will hit current topics, old topics, and everything else in between. Be there or be square. Deuces, my loves. Hi, what's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to another great episode of the All Around. I am your gracious host, Dr. Anthony, and it has been a minute. I am so sorry. Life has been lifing and everything else in between, and we have not really been able to do any live shows. This is our first live show of 2025. So welcome to 2025, and I hope everything is going amazing for you guys. And we have a today. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and bring out my producer, the wonderful Mr. Mark Lee.
How are you doing today? It looks like you're having a lovely day and enjoying this lovely weather, because I know it was raining all day here, even though we had some of that thing called snow, that other four-letter word that people talk about and everything. So we had some of that yesterday, but it didn't stick, and I'm so glad it didn't stick. But they're saying that we might get another blast on Friday, and that blast, they're saying we might get some of that sticking snow. And I don't know how y'all do with it. Actually, I guess y'all do well in DC, but if you know North Carolina folks, and I'm not a driver, but we really don't know how to drive in snow, and we have a hard time in ice. And that's actually what they're saying. It might be becoming today, because they're saying the temperature could definitely be getting well below freezing, not just at 32, but well below freezing, like 17, 20, something like that. So that stuff that was water will now be ice and will be slippery and treacherous. So if you're out there in that stuff, even if you're walking, because, you know, if they talk about driving while black, well, you can also try to walk while in the ice. And it's not a pleasant thing, because almost a decade and a half ago, I did that. I was actually working at a radio station that I still know some of the people associated with. And they asked me to go and help them by serving as a volunteer, like a substitute volunteer for a DJ that couldn't make it in and everything. Dr. Anthony, I should have known, you know, because God works in mysterious ways. And when you go down to the bus terminal and the bus terminal is closed, that should have been my first clue, not to try to be Johnny Badass and decide I was going to walk down.
Your first clue was
decide I was going to walk down to the station, which is maybe about 2.5-3 miles down the road and everything. And I think I got maybe, a couple of blocks down the road, and so.
Okay. So you're bouncing in and out, Mark. I'm not sure what's going on. We can barely hear you. So if it's any way possible,
sitting and busted up an arm pretty badly.
And check your connection. So you're going in and out, and we're missing what you're saying. So you're going in and out.
You didn't catch that? I was just telling my story about the ice and the treachery of the ice from a decade and a half ago, and all along those lines. I don't know how much of that you caught, but I was just saying that.
You didn't catch any of it because you went in and out, and we missed like the whole shebang of your story.
Okay. Well, I'll try to repeat the story. Hopefully you can catch the story this time around. Are you hearing me now? Is it coming through more clear?
Yes, I can hear you now. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Well, as I was saying, I was volunteering for a HBCU here in the community. It is actually North Carolina Central University. My show is usually on Monday night, but I decided to volunteer for somebody else on I want to say it was a weekday and everything. So I walked down to the bus terminal, and that should be my first clue. The buses weren't running, so I should have kept my ass and walked my ass on back home and stayed home. But no, instead of doing that, I decided to be Johnny Badass and walk down to the actual station. And I think I got maybe less than a half a mile when I slipped and fell and busted up my lovely arm and all along those lines. So I was out of commission for a while. So as I was saying, North Carolina and yours truly do not do ice all that well. So it was not a pleasant trip, because I literally fell in what it amounted to would have been like not the interstate part of the highway, but definitely a majorly traveled road. Because I remember when I fell, hearing something crack, And I'm of course thinking like, oh, that was nothing. I'm Johnny Badass. I can go and walk. That ain't nothing broken. Yeah, it was broken, Mark. Your head broken, your arm and everything. But yeah, it was not a pleasant thing to have happen to one and everything. But yeah, I remember going down there, and even my brother, who was accident prone as a youngster, he was like, nah, he didn't even want to see them drawing the blood because he's like, I think he told my dad, you don't understand, that's my brother's blood, not my blood. So he was having that thing that they call empathy and all along those lines. But yeah, I was getting there going like, no, me and Ice are not friends.
No, I understand, and I really hate that happened to you. But yeah, although we are experiencing, torrential snow and things like that. When I got back on Friday from Louisiana, I was out running errands with a friend of mine, and we were actually at the Verizon store, and it just came out of nowhere. And I'm like, oh my God, it looks like a blizzard because it was heavy. The wind was raging and things like that or whatever. And so it was something that, I hadn't really seen in such a long time. I would say this is my second time experiencing snow like we have experienced here today, where, everything is shut down and the schools are closed in surrounding counties and, the district and things like that. Because I do live in the district. I don't work in the district, but I do live in the district and, stuff like that or whatever. So, it's been to say the least or whatever. So yeah. But without any further ado, we have some hot topics that we need to get started with or whatever. Since we have not been live in such a long time, I'm just going to pick up with what's most relevant. At this present point in time. So, Congress has officially, voted to recognize as president-elect of the United States. And also the swearing in of new Congress and, new members to, legislature and things like that. So there's this video circulating on the internet where Vice President Kamala Harris was swearing in a senator, I think from Minnesota or Michigan or something like that. And so she shook the wife's hand and reached out to shake the husband's hand, and he, blatantly refused to shake her hand. And I'm like, this is your. And, for me, a lot of the Trump supporters are like, Trump is your president and this is what you need to be doing. Don't tell me what I need to be doing when your ass and your constituents and your own politicians and spouses and things like that are very disrespectful towards, Black members of the law and of our Congress and Senate and things like that, but it's like, they take a blind eye to whatever they have going on. But when it comes to, like one of us or a Democrat, they are quick to, and things like that. And I just felt like that was very disrespectful for him to, perform in that regard and things like that or whatever. And we need to start normalizing calling them out and holding them accountable, because this is getting to the point where it is just flat out ridiculous and it's just flat out insane. Because like I tell people all the time, don't let Trump get your ass whipped. Because at the end of the day, we are not our ancestors. We are not going to play a role where we are being, not going to voice our opinion, and we're not going to, step up and say what we need to say and things like that. This is a whole new era. This is a ball game of a whole new era. So, y'all fucking found out with the election and Trump lying to you guys. Y'all gonna fuck around and find out about, Black Americans, especially Black women and things like that or whatever. If you continue to, act in that regard, y'all really gonna see the wrath of us. And quite naturally, y'all
don't. They don't want to see that.
I can't hear you, Mark. No, they really don't.
You can't hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
I was just saying they really don't want the wrath of Black women and all along those lines, because that can be very dangerous and everything. I was going to ask you, because when did Marjorie Taylor Greene decide she was a weatherman and everything? Because apparently she was concerned about that snow blizzard and everything, and she wanted to make sure that all the Republicans were going to be there to vote for her man, because I think that they might even have a secret affair, but that's just me being a little bit facetious and everything like that, because I'm pretty sure he's having one with Laura Boebert and all along those lines. So there are some other women in these camps that he might be having affairs with, but that's just my own little thoughts and everything. But what is your take on this notion that apparently she thought she was a weatherman because she was like, she wasn't going to let the snow, even though they told her it was going to be a blizzard, stop her from being there to certify the elections, and she wanted to make sure that the rest of her camp was there to certify it as well. But yeah, she came out like she was some sort of weather girl.
Honestly, follow that broad or whatever, because she's the classic, Karen to me. And anything that comes out of her mouth is ludicrous, is ambiguous, it has no truth to it, and things like that or whatever. So I'm not surprised that she didn't run out in the snow naked and barefoot and things like that or whatever. So nothing surprises me when it comes to her and her antics and things like that or whatever. So it's just one of those things to me.
No, I agree. It's definitely one of those things, one of those crazy things, and all on those others. Yep. Yeah, I agree. It's one of those crazy things, and I just can't believe that she did that. But then again, they do a lot of crazy things along those lines and everything. So I'm still trying to figure out what's going on in our society. Has there been any news more on that lovely case? Because we got a couple of our celebrities that have been in trouble, whether it's been Puffy or whether it's been a number of others. And I'd be lying if I said I was following those cases, because I was trying to enjoy Christmas. So I went on Christmas and spent time with Mom up in Rocky Mount, North Carolina, and definitely got to spend time with my
honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I haven't really been keeping up with anything unless it pops up on social media. I've been having a lot of things go on in my personal life in terms of family and things like that or whatever. So I haven't had an opportunity to deep dive into anything like that. So if or in my TikTok, my Facebook, and other spaces, I have not done any further research in terms of what's going on with Puffy, what's going on with Jay-Z, and things like that or whatever. So no, I have not.
I'm just wondering your take, because speaking of things in the news, that it was in the news while we were gone and everything, there was a brother, and at least they say it was a brother, even though there was other people that did attacks in Vegas, but it was a brother that launched an attack in New Orleans, and he was a ex-military gentleman and everything. And I'm just now seeing that it looks like there might be a second attack that took place in New Orleans. So as one that spent a lot of time and has family members in Louisiana, what is your take on this New Orleans attack and everything like that? And was it what do you think is cause and reason for doing this was, and everything like that? Because they're even saying he visited the city twice before he actually did this attack on the day of the Sugar Bowl.
Well, honestly, he looks black, but he's not black, and you can go by his name and see that he's not black, and they don't identify as black. They typically identify as white, so we're not claiming him. He's not a brother. He's not of the culture, and things like that. Because if he was of the culture, we typically don't do stuff like that. So no, I would not claim him as being a brother and things of that nature. And he responded in a typical white fashion when he thought his world was caving. He went out and harmed other people instead of just harming himself. He, had words with his father. He lost his job and, things like that. And he felt like he had no other, recourse or whatever. But that's what they do. That's not what we do, because, we're used to disappointments. We're used to being resilient. We're used to picking ourselves up by our bootstraps and, making something out of nothing and things like that or whatever. So that's a typical white person response. That's not a typical Black person response, because we typically don't respond in that regard and in that way. I think he was trying to, do a lot of damage where, damage, could be done. And, picking Bourbon and Canal Street is one of those places where, if those bombs would have detonated and gone off, a lot of people would have been harmed because of the nature and the culture of how we do things in Louisiana. That Bourbon and Canal is the only place that I know of in the United States that you can walk around drunk all day and nothing is. And so he took that as an opportunity to be destructive and, do some things that, typically is not done. I know Louisiana and New Orleans and, different places down there get this bad reputation, but I go to New Orleans all the time. New Orleans is actually one of my favorite cities in Louisiana. Although I'm from Louisiana, I'm not from New Orleans, but I go to New Orleans all the time, like I said, because I was just there and I'm possibly going to be there, soon or whatever. So, again, like they scoped out, Bourbon and Canal and, found, loopholes as to how he could get on the street and things like that. Because typically when we have those type of events going on anytime in Louisiana, we have barricades set up, especially on Bourbon and Canal. The streets are shut down, but he found a loophole where he went around the barricade and was able to get down Bourbon Street and, run havoc upon, those people who lost their lives. And I already know that New Orleans is a tourist town. New Orleans thrive off of tourism and things like that. So we're not trying to do anything that is purposely done to harm anyone. So we already knew that he was not of, Louisiana descent and things like that. And like I said, he looks black, but he's not black. They typically identify as, like other or, white and things like that or whatever, because typically if we have a problem with somebody, we're going to go take it up with that person that we have a problem with. We're not going to go as, assault on other people and, things like that or whatever. We're going to come straight to you. We're going to step to you because we're bold enough to step to you if we have a problem with you. And like I said, the culture, he's not representing the culture at all.
I agree. He's not representing the culture. I do have a question for you because it comes down to something with Cosby and with this latest case and everything. Why do women in general, and particularly our sister women, sometimes it's not always our sisters, because we do know that sometimes the brothers, particularly athletes and entertainers, get caught up with the white girls as well. But it looks like Rickey Smiley had just recently discovered that he has a 5-year-old twin daughters he never knew about. So why did this particular woman wait 5 years, even though they probably had some sort of relationship, to try to pin Rickey Smiley down and everything? Because apparently he's just now finding out that he's got a 5-year-old. And like I said, I know that I've had sexual encounters. I know many men that have had sexual encounters. And as far as I know, I have no kids and none that I am aware of, and nobody has come to me. But that doesn't mean that somebody might not come one day and say, hey, you got some teenager or something like that and everything like that. But I hope that they would have been bold enough to tell me that.
Well, honestly,
Go ahead.
Well, honestly, I don't think that was the case, that she was trying to pin him down. From what I read on, that popped up on my social media or whatever, she didn't know that he was the father. Okay. She actually thought another young man was the father. And when they went to go get the DNA test, I guess for, like establishing paternity and, things like that, it came about that man was not the father. I guess, she contacted Rickey to see if, DNA and things like that could be established. And it turns out that he was a father. I don't think that she was, trying to be malicious and trying to, like set him up and things like that. I honestly don't think that was the case, because I feel like Rickey Smiley is vocal enough that he would have said in that regard if, he felt that, he was trying to be baby trapped and, things like that. And he actually was pleased that were his babies, because a year anniversary of his son being, expired and things like that or whatever. So he was actually pleased to find out that he had 2 daughters. And I'm just, I'm happy that he has, children that he can, lean on again and things like that or whatever. And he's happy to have his daughters and, stuff like that. But I honestly don't think that it was a baby trap type situation. But, for just speaking from a woman, I've never been pregnant. So, but I'm just speaking from, a woman's perspective. Mm-hmm. Most being tried to baby trap women, you know what I'm saying? And women try to, get along with the father of the child and things like that or whatever. And women will oftentimes walk away and do it on their own. It's the men most of the time that, make the situation, difficult and things like that. And I'm not saying some women don't make the situation difficult, because that some women do. But I'm saying the mass majority of women are out there handling their business and taking care of their babies and, things like that or whatever. And men have to realize, if you're partaking in intercourse and you're sexually active with someone, it's a possibility that, you can get that person pregnant. And, when you get angry talking about you didn't want the baby, you shouldn't be participating in the act of, making the baby. Because not saying that, all sexual encounters are going to lead to pregnancy, but it's a strong possibility that it will lead to pregnancy. And you have to step up to, become the father and become the man that woman needs and that child needs. And a lot of men don't do that. The brokenness of, single Black mothers and things like that or whatever. And then they have the audacity, the Black audacity, to come back and talking about, single Black mothers are not worthy and, things like that or whatever. But you made that woman a single Black mother. All you have to do is just step up and be the father and be what she needed to be with, for the baby. You don't have to be in a relationship with her, but you have to do what you're supposed to do in terms of your child. I understand you may not have wanted the child, but ultimately it's not solely up to you if you get to decide if the woman like that or whatever. So, my thing is just handle your business, even if you don't have a relationship with the mom, but you should have a relationship with your child. And you should try to, forge a strong bond and build that, because not only little boys need their fathers, little girls need their fathers and things like that. Because, one of the things that I do, as they consider me the rich auntie, although I'm not rich or whatever, but they consider me the rich auntie, the rich cousin, is I make sure that I buy the children, brand name gifts. And they're like, oh, so you trying to front, you trying to show off. No, I'm not. It's a reason. It's always a method to my madness. So you have to understand, little girls are watching what we do as young women. Young men are watching what we do as young women, and how men engage with us and how men treats us. So if my little nieces and my little cousins are receiving gifts, that are of value and of standard and things like that, no Joe Smo can come off the street and amuse them with gifts and money and things like that, because they're already acclimated and they're already accustomed to getting those things. Because a lot of times our children get caught up in the materialistic side of it, of getting gifts and things that they never received as a child growing up, and they get caught up into like sex trafficking, sexual abuse, sexual assault, based off of getting positive attention in regards to them receiving those gifts and things, which is really negative attention. So we start off early in my family with doing those things to our children at an early age, so they're already accustomed to receiving these things. They're accustomed to getting expensive gifts. They're accustomed to getting nice clothes and things like that. So no regular dude or no regular whatever can come off the street and entice them with the way that that's being understand being in your child's life is it's important, it's key. Just like with my brother has been in and out of jail, doing crazy dumb stuff and things like that. So I had to have a conversation with my brother and let him know, look, I have raised your child is becoming a young man. I say I have done everything that I can possibly do to help your child. One thing that I cannot do for your child is to teach him, my nephew, how to be a man. So what I need for you to do, I need you to get your Black ass together and step up and be the father that he needs to be, that he needs for you to be, so that he can see how a man is supposed to behave and how a man is supposed to act. And so, when I had that conversation with my brother, he started changing his life around and started being there for his child and being there for his children and things like that. Because like I say, I'm the aunt. I can only teach them so much, in which I did. But you as the father, responsibility. So you have to step up and teach your child how to be, a man, how to, interact with men, and, even if it's your, your daughter, and things like that. Because, like I said, I can only teach them so much coming from the aunt standpoint. So men got to understand that although you may not have wanted the child, this is your child. They didn't ask to be here. You have to step up and you have to do what you're supposed to do. So I honestly don't think that the woman was trying to baby trap him or whatever. I think, it just turned out to be a blessing in disguise.
Well, like I said, I just heard about this particular story, and she might not have been trying to baby trap him. We do know that there are some what you call snow bunnies and some other people that are out there definitely trying to baby trap some of our guys and everything like that. So it is a real thing that it might not be in this particular case. I was going to ask you, there was a very new movie that's out, and apparently it is starring a nice story that a lot of people are not familiar with. And I think I was talking to another friend, and they were telling me that they went to it and they were quite impressed with the movie and everything, because sometimes if you're in hard times, like living in poverty or living in near poverty conditions and everything, you have to find some skill set in order to get out of there. And there is a biopic about a young lady that learned the skill of boxing and everything, and she went on to become a boxing champion. And the movie is called The Fire Inside, and it's about Clarissa T. Rex Shields and everything. So I just wondered if you've heard about this movie and your thoughts around this notion of using boxing as a way to get out of poverty. And now there's a whole movie about her and her success and everything. And she's a young woman. I think she's only 29 and everything like that. So I just wanted your take on using boxing or any sort of athletic skill that might not be a traditional athletic skill in order to get out of the quote unquote projects.
I mean, I applaud her. I have heard about her movie. I haven't had an opportunity to sit down and just engage and watch the movie. I did watch the 6888 with my nephew. We had time that day. I did not get a chance to watch another movie, but I'm back to Louisiana with my nephews and, watching different movies and things like that. And The Fire Inside of Me is one of those ones that I would definitely be partaking in with my nephews. So I've been getting bits and pieces and snippets of her situation. She took something that she learned and turned it into a positive, to, get out there and to, get herself out of poverty and, her family and things like that. And also, I think, when it comes to, getting yourself out of poverty, it comes with other adversities and other challenges that you have to, face and things like that. And from what I have gathered from some of her interviews is that, other Black women have been seriously hating on her. And, I can understand and I can sympathize with that because I'm there. I've experienced it, in the workforce, in the personal life, and things like that. People are not genuinely happy for you when you have actually taken a step forward to move your career different tax bracket into a different season and things like that. They are genuinely unhappy, and she has been dealing with a lot of that coming from different types of women. I was just watching just last night a clip where she was in the ring where a young woman was saying that she fought these other fighters and things like that or whatever. She wanted to fight her, and so when she got in the ring, you could see that she had some passion. I'm talking about Clarissa, that is, some passion, some built up anger and things like that, and she was about to beat the brakes off of that woman in that ring, because all of that stuff that woman had said and was trying to manifest into her world was coming out in her swings and in that boxing and things like that or whatever. So my thing is you can always fuck around and find out. So I honestly believe the other lady just fucked around and found out that she wasn't having it. You wrote a check that your ass couldn't cash and things like that or whatever. So my thing is, if anybody can build themselves up out of poverty and work their way up, I am super proud of. Yeah. And her story and everything that she has brought along and things like that. But we also have to understand that there are other avenues and ways to get yourself out of poverty and get yourself into more stability. You can become an entrepreneur. You can become you can go. Some people use the military. The 6888 was about Black women going into the military and the struggle that they had to overcome by being in the military and things like that. But it just I'm going to jump off the topic
Yeah, that's okay. That's a good thing
how,
to talk about.
white America tends to, yeah, how white America tried to, tell black people how we're not patriotic, and we're not patriots and things like that, when we, were denied many opportunities, when we were given, circumstances and placed in circumstances that the average person could not survive. But we not only survived, but we also dominated, and we also fixed whatever it is that, they said that we couldn't fix. But then patriotic and things like that, and we need to go back to where we came from. Where the hell are we going? This is our country. We didn't go into another country and steal us. Y'all stole our ancestors and brought us here, and that's, and it's just baffling to me, even with, with this whole election thing, and with minorities telling other minorities not to vote for Kamala, and, to vote for anybody other than Kamala. And then you have to come back and double back talking about President Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. Can y'all do something? Because Trump said that he's going to extradite. No, because we tried to tell y'all wouldn't listen. But, and what also, angers me is the fact that they don't understand that without the black plight, you could not do what you're doing. Without Black Americans, you cannot come over here and voice your opinions and say what you're saying, because we did that. We caused that. And it goes down, and it goes to the Asians, to the LGBTQ community. It goes to all of those, disenfranchised subgroups or whatever. Without you know what I'm saying? So y'all are beneficiaries of the Black movement and the civil rights movement, and yet and still, we can never get y'all to stand 10 toes down and stand on business with us. Y'all always vote against your own best interest, and which ultimately affects us and our best interest and things like that. So it just really angers me. And then, to the point where try to tell us how we should feel, who we should vote for, and what we should think, and things like that, or whatever. You don't have the right. You have never garnered or earned that position in our place in our life to tell us nothing about how we should feel about a country that has been totally against us from, I don't know, the past 500 years and things like that. Let me just put this out there to you, Mark. Ruby Bridges. Ruby Bridges has a movie about her integrating schools,
Right.
Bridges is still alive.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? A lot of this stuff that has taken place in our lifetime and in our parents' lifetime. And then I was looking at another video talking about why Gen Xers are mad. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not supposed to be mad. We're supposed to just accept the bullshit, as it comes. Y'all better realize is just like y'all parents came home and talked to y'all, our parents came home and talked to us.
Right.
Poverty. Everybody didn't grow up, in the projects. Everybody didn't grow up in the same capacity. But yet and still, y'all try to grow all of Black people in the same capacity as each other. And I'm not saying growing up in poverty and growing up in the projects is something wrong, because you cannot control your circumstances. But we are not one and the same, and people have to understand that. So when they are talking to us, they're not even talking to us. They're talking at us, and they're telling us instead of engaging us in the conversation. I think that we're all one and the same, and we're not all one and the same. Just for example, Beyonce. You know what I'm saying? Beyonce grew up middle class, just like many of us grew up middle class and things like that. But for the life of me, they cannot fathom that a Black woman came from a middle class family and things like that. Meghan Markle is another one. You know what I'm saying? They cannot fathom that this is taking place in their America. So they feel like we should be appreciative that we are allowed, that we have worked for what we have to be on, these pedestals and, things like that. I'm sorry, I'm gonna stop for a second and give you a chance to speak.
No problem. I was just going to say really quickly, Dr. Anthony, one of the things that you brought up is something that has been brought up on a number of shows in this network, Pod TV, including even on some of my shows, which is the fact that the majority of the people that are on welfare, or the stereotype of the welfare queen, is that of an African American woman. But the truth is that the majority of the people that are actually supported by welfare are white women, not black women. It's actually white women that are mostly supported by the welfare programs and everything like that. And they actually look like almost like one of the founders of our network, in in the sense of being like blonde and blue eyed and all of that kind of station and all along those lines. I was getting ready to mention a legend, because we had a couple of legends that passed, and then there was another question I was going to ask you, because you just mentioned her a minute ago and everything like that. But before I get to who I was going to ask you, which is a major celebrity and everything like that, we did lose, and he was part of a major deal and everything like that, a major breakup, because there was a merger that take place, and some people said it was one of the worst mergers of all time, which is Time Warner and AOL. But Richard Parsons, who just recently died and everything, was the person that was the CEO when they realized that that was a horrible mistake and kind of cleaned up that mistake. So he was definitely a person that was running the AOL Time Warner in 2002, and definitely cleaned up a lot of things that had gone wrong in that space, and was a monumental figure, and people forget about him in a number of things, including the music industry and the internet and a number of other things. But he was a brother, Richard Dean Dick Parsons, and born in particular working class. He was born in a working class family on April 4th, 1948, in Brooklyn's Bedford-Stuyvesant section, and grew up in the South Ozone Park in Queens, New York. So he was a middle child among 5 siblings and attended public school, skipping 2 grades. And at age 16, he was enrolled at the University of Hawaii, where he played basketball and met his future wife, who he married in 1968. But and I think it might have been one of the Bush girls, Laura Ann Bush, and everything. But definitely, it looks like he was one of those people that was definitely one of those folks that was a icon in our community, in the sense of being a entertainment and media kind of icon. So I didn't know if you had heard about his death and the loss of him, because he did pass, and I want to say around the age of the late 70s, like around 76 or something like that. But that is something that a lot of folks in the media world were giving him recognition.
Heard about his death and things like that. Like I said, I'm just getting back to DC, getting back to my house, trying to get settled and things like that. So I haven't been up on, like reading, a whole lot of things, and, being abreast of, certain things. So I had not read about his death and things like that. But,
no problem.
Condolences to the family and things like that, or whatever. So he sounded like he was a trendsetter and a trailblazer, and a great loss, but a great asset, and ally to the Black.
Yeah, definitely an ally to the Black community.
So definitely a great loss.
A great loss there and everything. You mentioned Beyonce, and I know that one of the things that was going all over the internet, and this is where I wanted to hear your opinion, was that I think it was one of the bowl games. She gave what I understand, and I have not watched it. I'd be lying if I said that I had, but
no, it was a football. It was the NFL game. It wasn't bowl. It was the NFL game. It was the game that was played in Houston against the Texans.
They said it was an amazing performance. I haven't watched it, and all along those lines. But I also heard some people that were critical, because apparently she let her teen daughter, Blue Ivy, perform, and I guess there were some people that were critical of the type of outfit that she was wearing and a number of other things in that space. So I just wanted your take on that performance, because a few people I've talked to, including some friends of mine that are in the music business, thought that it was one of the most amazing performances that they had seen, and all along those lines. But I did not, like you, there are some things that I missed that I wish I had seen. Like I didn't watch the Golden Globes last night, but I just wanted your take on that particular event that starred Beyonce, and whether you watched it and thought it was as amazing as some of my friends on the internet are telling me it was.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Also, as far as the Golden Globes is concerned, I'm not watching that Emmys or anything like that, because they shit on Black people. So I definitely won't be giving them my views and things like that. But as far as the Beyonce Bowl, it's on Netflix. So if you have Netflix, you can watch it. The performance by Beyonce was spectacular. It was amazing within itself, and we already knew that she was going to bring it. I only tuned in to watch the halftime show. I did not watch the football game. So it was 27 million. The halftime show, and she did the damn thing. The show was about recollecting Black history, the Black Cowboys and things like that. The song Blackbird was sang and performed by her, that was written by the Beatles and things, what is it, Paul McCartney from the Beatles and things like that, about, you know, the Little Rock Nine and the struggles of Black women and things like that. And so, you know, to me, it was spectacular in terms of, you know, the history and how she, things like that. The performance was simply amazing. It was, you know, definitely Super Bowl worthy, but, you know, we could not ask for anything greater, because we already know that, you know, being a Black woman, she is going to perform and she is going to, you know, stand 10 toes down on business and things like that or whatever. So, you know, for the white people, this right here is for the white people out there. For the white people that's talking about her show was propaganda. Her show was not propaganda. Who is she propaganding against? It wasn't for you. Her shows has never been for you. If you go back and listen to her music, you know, you can know that her music has always stood within the culture and, you know, Black history and, you know, Black things or whatever. So, you know, for y'all to be running around here talking about, you know, she should be fined because she did this with, you know, her hand and things like that, like she was shooting a gun and things like that or whatever. You need to mind you need to mind your Carl Cassidy business and talking about she's not country. What constitute country? Because she don't sound like y'all poor white trash asses. That's why y'all saying that she's not.
Well, Dr. Anthony,
She has roots in Louisiana and she has roots in, you know, Texas. That's just like people.
I was gonna say, but that's
just like people. Yeah, but that's just like people telling me that, you know, because I'm Southern, that I'm country. You know what I'm saying? So I can be country, but she can't be country. You know what I'm saying? So you're telling the person who has grown up in the dirty South, which is Texas and Louisiana, because she has, you know, Creole roots and things like that from Louisiana. She grew up going to those rodeos and performing at those rodeos, that she's not country. So what doesn't make her country? Because she's not white? You know, because that's the only thing that I can think of, because, you know, Keith Urban is from Australia. Shania Twain is from Canada. And a lot of those white people that y'all so-called country is from, you know, other continents and things like that. But y'all don't have a problem with calling them country. But y'all want to say that Beyonce is not country? Oh, she doesn't sound country. Sweetheart, country was country before country was country. And Black people made country country until y'all took it off. Yeah. And put mayonnaise in it and whitewash it and things like that or whatever. So, you know, she understood the assignment. She did what she was supposed to do and things like that. So, you know, my thing is, y'all have to understand, white women, especially white women, we don't need your permission to do anything. We're not asking for permission. We're just doing. And it's 2025. And like, you know, many of the 92% said, you know, we're no longer, you know, helping you with your problems. We don't give a damn if your man is beating your ass. We're going to turn a blind eye. We don't give a damn about y'all. You know, when y'all went to the polls, y'all ain't gave a damn about us. So guess what? We're not giving a damn about y'all. So we gonna chill these last 4 years, and we gonna let y'all asses struggle and do what you do. You know what I'm saying? And you know, just to get off of Beyonce for a moment, you know, Meghan Markle has dropped, you know, her little trailer about, you know, with Love Meghan or whatever, coming up with her style show and things like that. And so the white women are losing their damn minds about, you know, she's boring. So, you know, she said she wanted privacy and things like that. Now, one time that this woman said she wanted privacy, the woman said that she didn't want to be invaded, you know, unless, you know, it was the right way. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. These people were going through being malicious, you know, getting cell phone records, you know, from paying people to, you know, do dirty, devious things to get information on these people. You know, nobody wants to feel invaded like that. So you have to respect that. And so y'all talking about she disrespected the royal family. How did she disrespect the royal family? Because she stood up that bullshit from them with them being racist. So you calling that disrespect? And, you know, I have, you know, certain choice words for Meghan McCain. Meghan McCain, you're the most unqualified white woman that I know. You have done nothing but lay on your ass and pop out a damn child and things like that. You're walking in the footsteps of your damn father, you know, Senator McCain and things like that or whatever. So what the hell have you done talking about, you know, you don't have the bandwidth or the know-how to even, you know, critique a black woman. Let's not talk about because without your father and without the McCain name, you would be nothing but poor white trash. So let's just keep it there or whatever, because she gonna have the nerve to say because she disrespected the royal family. And who are you to talk about she disrespected the royal family? You know what I'm saying? You need to worry about your overweight. Yeah, because you overweight, disrespectful, mediocre ass over here in the United States that people don't care about, because we damn sure don't care about your ass. I'm talking about the 92% or whatever, and keep your ass in your damn lane or whatever, because my thing is with these, tell Black women that we need to humble ourselves and we need to stay in this place. You just mad because that white man married this Black woman. That's it. Hands down, Mark, that's what it's all about. When they found out that she was biracial, that's when the problem started. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't feel like a Black woman should have, snatched a prince. They don't feel like, she is worthy of, the notoriety and, the title of princess and duchess and things like that. But regardless of what you feel, guess what? She is or Black African princess, however you want to look at it. You know what I'm saying? And regardless of what you say with your caucasity and your mediocre, bullshit and things like that, you can never take that away from her, because that's what she is, and that's her title, because that's Prince Harry's birthright title, and that can never be taken away. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is to all these white women, stay in your damn lane, because this ain't the time, nor the place, nor the atmosphere to be coming out talking about no Black woman, disrespecting no Black woman, and things like that. Because what's going to you in your place, and we gonna send your ass with your tail between your legs crying back to your mammy and your pappy and your husbands and all that stuff, and we gonna laugh at your asses when the shit goes south and we not there to pick up the pieces for you. Mark?
Yeah, I was going to say, apparently we got another star that's apparently on today getting abused by somebody in her camp. And I don't know if you've been hearing about this story, because I just literally just heard about it, but Nicki Minaj's former manager has accused I said Nicki Minaj's former manager, has accused her of beating and hitting him multiple times while she was on tour in Detroit. So there's a lawsuit that just came out where Brandon Javon Garrett alleges that the 42-year-old Minaj, whose real name is Oneki Mirage, assaulted him on April 21st after a concert at Little Caesars Arena in Detroit. Apparently she was going out to get him some ice cream and everything. But the suit that was filed this past Friday in Los Angeles accuses the Grammy-nominated artist of assault, battery, and intentional emotional distress. Her company, Pink Personality Incorporated, is also named as a defendant. And of course, she hasn't responded for comment from the media and everything, but he's claiming, I guess, that he went back from buying ice cream that she requested, and apparently he got like some abuse while he was there and everything. So I don't know if he's Black or white or purple, but apparently he's out there trying to scar the name of one of the stars. I don't know if you heard about this, but yeah, they're saying that Minaj physically attacked Garrett, the lawsuit said, open-handedly striking him on the right side of his face, causing his head to swing backwards as his hat flew off his head. She allegedly hit him on his right wrist, causing him to drop documents he was holding before kicking Garrett out of the room, the lawsuit states. So it sounds like it was a petty fight at anything. So it's not like she knocked him out or anything, but I guess he's feeling that he abused her position of authority and berated, threatened, used profanities, and violently struck him. So I guess somebody's trying to get a check. That's what it sounds like to me.
It definitely sounds like somebody's trying to get a check. You know what I'm saying? My thing is, to Nicki Minaj and other stars out there, be careful who you hire. Be careful who you put in your payroll and things like that, because at the end of the day, these people show no loyalty to you. And I don't know if she hit him or not or whatever. It's his word against hers and things like that. But my thing is, just be careful who you have around you and in your circle, because at the end of the day, what it all boils down to is these people are looking for a payout, and that's what they're going to go after and things like that or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, just be careful.
Yeah, they got to be careful. Speaking of payouts, I was going to mention it because apparently he had a great deal to do as a liberal Southern gentleman. I know sometimes on this show we knock the white race in a lot of ways, rightfully so, but we did lose a president, Jimmy Carter, that apparently did a lot, including having been a supporter and worked with Andrew Young and even a number of people that were in his cabinet and all along those lines. So as a matter of fact, he placed the first Black woman in professional and technical roles at a lot of major corporations and all along those lines. And Andrew Young did, and he was impressed by that. Jimmy Carter was, and apparently he tried to do something similar on the political landscape. So they said from judgeships to cabinet level appointments, Black women broke ground in Carter's administration. He won in office from 1977 to 1981 amid the wave of feminist and gender activism that followed the height of the civil rights movement. And apparently a lot of Black women who worked with Carter during his administration, that he had long been a champion of women, notably as shifting gender norms coincided with his term and everything along that line. So I don't know if you had any thoughts about the Jimmy Carter and his legacy, even in our community as well.
No, I mean he was one of the good ones and things like that or whatever. He did try to include us in positions of power and things like that or whatever. So no, his presidency and his legacy is one of a true character and a true testament of what a true politician should be and things like that or whatever. But I know that some of the other to basically blast his legacy and his presidency and things like that. But Donald Trump is the last person to be trying to blast anyone on anything when you're a failed president, a 34 convicted felon, and things like that or whatever. So Jimmy Carter legacy is going to stand for his legacy and things like that, and it will go down in history as one of the greater presidents and things like that or whatever.
I agree. And one of the things that he did, and they are not related as far as I know, Kamala Harris is not, but in 1977 he appointed Patricia Robert Harris, a Howard University alumni and attorney, as Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, making her the first Black woman to serve as a White House cabinet secretary. So he's actually the one that gave the first African American woman a cabinet position, and that's when he named her the first secretary of what was then a newly reorganized Department of Health and Human Services. And she became the first woman to hold two different cabinet positions. I think she had another one later on as well. And then he also tapped Eleanor Holmes Norton, now a Washington, D.C. delegate to Congress, to become the first woman to head the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission in 1977. So he didn't just talk it, he walked it as well. As a matter of fact, Siobhan Arlen Bradley, the president and CEO of the National Council of Negro Women, said the beauty of President Carter is he was way ahead of his time because of his inclusion of Black women in key roles. And she pointed even to Dorothy Height, the late civil rights leader who led NCNW for 4 decades. So definitely in her book, Open Wide the Freedom Gates, Height wrote that Carter appointed her to the National Commission for the Protection of Human Subjects of Biomedical and Behavioral Research. So the other 15 members were professionals in fields like medicine, ethics, law, health, and education. I was a public member, and I brought to the commission that I had learned face-to-face with poor women. I could be the voice of women who knew that their rights had been violated. I had something to contribute in the shaping of public policy recommendations and press for policies to be written so that they were understandable. So it definitely looks like he did a lot of stuff. And like I said, I know that he was a friend of Representative Barbara Jordan, who campaigned for him and was the keynote speaker at the Democratic National Convention when he was nominated for president. So definitely a lot of ties that he had to the African-American community, particularly coming from Plains, Georgia, and all along those lines. But definitely it looks like he, like you said, was one of the good guys, and he will be missed, but he did make it to 100. So he made it to the century mark and all along those lines. So I think he'll be married later this week next to his beloved wife and all in that space.
Yes. So it was, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I didn't know if there was other things you were trying to get to, because I know we got only a few more minutes and I got to get ready to do Maxine's show, and then we got other shows going on there as well.
No, actually, I think we covered everything on Sunday when we film for the new shows and things like that or whatever. I'll go more in detail for some other things that I want to address and stuff like that. But I do know that I will be bringing guests on the show this season. So if you are an author, educator, psychologist, or anything like that, you would like, please know you can hit me up at allaround@gmail.com or hit me up on Facebook to let me know that you would like to be a guest. We are broadcasted in over 25 countries and in their languages and things like that. And we are in the top 5, internationally and things like that as far as the show is concerned. So your word will get out there and you will, get some type of, recognition from, my supporters and my followers and things like that. So we're just trying to, work on it, becoming pretty decent in the, as far as anything else, Mark, I don't have anything else. We can go ahead and end at this point and prepare for next week.
We can prepare for next week just really quickly, because I know that it's something that people care about, particularly the brothers, but sisters get into it as well. Starting this coming weekend, we will be having the College Bowl, and there are several teams that are going, including, I think, for the first time, 2 Black coaches that will be going against each other when Notre Dame plays Penn State and everything like that. So I just wanted your take on if there is one of those teams that you will be rooting for, because I know there's Notre Dame, Penn State, Ohio State, and I forgot the 4th team. It might be Texas. It's not coming to me right now and everything. But I was wondering if there was anybody that you will be particularly rooting for, and your thoughts around this fact that we're going to have 2 Black coaches going head to head against each other in that Penn State Ohio State matchup.
So if it's Texas and it's the Longhorns, I will be rooting for them, because my little cousin plays for Texas. Kevin Banks, he plays for the Texas Longhorns. So if it's them, as far as anybody else, no, I would not be rooting for anybody else.
Yeah. Nobody else is making.
So I have to find out.
I got to find out. I can actually find out. I think it's on one of my Facebooks, and I can tell you one of the 4 teams, because I actually put that on one of my posts and all along those lines. So we can solve that problem real quick. But I do know that, because there's always talking about there's not enough of us being represented in the coaching carousel, and I know that we definitely got to do better in that sense. But there is definitely some thoughts of this notion that we can have this, we can represent on the coaching side. We don't have to just be on the athletic side. So some people are thinking that we don't have the skill sets to be coaches, when we know that we are tremendous athletes, but we also are tremendous coaches as well. And we've been doing a good job in that space.
Well, the thing about it is, it's not, the thing about it is we've never lacked the skill set. It's just we've lacked the opportunity. They try to, gatekeep and keep us out, just, like the medical profession. They try to keep us out of, all of these avenues, so that we are more codependent upon them, and instead of own thing and stuff like that. So we have the capabilities, we have the ability to do all of this. It's just that they play the gatekeep. That's just like, we don't have a full owner who's Black of the NFL team, because the other owners have to vote and say, if they can, even buy the team, or keep Black people at a minimum, trying to keep Black people, humbled, like they say, and, things like that or whatever. So, again, to the white folks, we're not asking you to be.
No doubt, we're not asking them at all. And by the way, you will be rooting for,
and pushing you out the way.
You will be rooting for your cousin. He is one of the 4 teams left. The 4 teams left are Notre Dame, Penn State, Texas, and Ohio State. And I think it's 2 of those do have a Black coach. And
it's Texas Longhorns. If it's the Texas Longhorns, then yes.
Yes, it is the Texas Longhorns. The 4 teams left are Notre Dame.
Yeah, so his name is Kevin Banks. So if y'all can watch the game, make sure y'all support Kevin. That's my little cousin, and he will be, playing in that game.
He'll be playing that game. So yes, Texas you will have representation here with our network and with Dr. Anthony, because we'll have at least somebody that is represented that's on the team and everything like that. So Texas will be there and everything like that. So that is a great matchup that folks can look forward to. So Texas will be taking on their opponent and all along those lines. And I know that if nothing else, you'll be watching to see how your cousin does and all in that.
I'm gonna catch the highlights. Huh? I said I'm gonna catch the highlights. I'm quite sure family is gonna be posting up and down my timeline and things like that or whatever. So I'm quite sure I will.
You won't have to watch it. You could just see on the
game.
Yep. And then Texas is playing Ohio State. And then that game is on January 10th, which is Penn State against Notre Dame. And I think it's Penn State against Notre Dame is the one that's got the 2 Black coaches, if I remember correctly, and all along those lines. But on that note, we'll get ready to get on out. Get ready to get out here, and we'll see if your relative does a good job and all along those lines. And yes, we will be recording some shows on Sundays, but they'll be airing on our regular Mondays and everything. So I'll get together with you and we'll make that happen. But right now, let's get on out of here. I know you've got your usual saying that you say at the end.
Right now, the clock on the wall says that's all. So cool. Yep, the clock on the wall says that's all. So much love, my loves. So we will see you guys next Monday. Deuces.
Deuces.
What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome to the All Around. I'm your gracious host, Dr. Anthony. Please tune in on Mondays at 6 p.m. for your entertainment purposes. We will hit current topics, old topics, and everything else in between. Be there or be square. Deuces, my loves.